Ask Earl Anything. This is my year-end review show. This is about 2018. I normally take questions, and I will go back to my question format for next week. I have a few questions in the can, but I thought that this might be a really good time to kind of go over where we've come from this year, where I've come from this year, and where I'm going into 2019. And to be honest, I'm not sure where I'm going. We got some interesting things going on. So let's talk a little bit about YouTube and where this all started and how I got to the place I'm at today. So just to give you some statistics, what happened last year. Last year at this time, right before the end of the year, I just hit 200 subscribers. 2017 was a huge year for me. 2017 was a transition year for me. I've talked about this a few times in my videos, but 2017 was a year where I was turning 57, I was 56, I had a job that I'd been at for 12 years, I'd been in an industry for 35 years. Everything in my life at that point in time was established me to do the things I'd been doing. And prior to doing YouTube videos, I had a recording studio and I was doing album projects and I was recording for people. But I couldn't make a living at that. But I really enjoyed doing it. So one of my bucket list items in my life back in my 40s was I'd love to have a recording studio in my home. So what I decided to do was, let's build a recording studio. And the reason I built the recording studio was for my wife. My wife wrote songs back in the 90s. She wrote some songs in the 90s into the 2000s. And it became apparent that I wanted to record her songs and I wanted to do an album. So we started the process of building a recording studio in 1995. It took till 1999 to actually build the studio, get the walls done, and put equipment in it. And then I moved to Florida. I moved to South Florida for my job. That's an adventure story right there I can tell you about, but I'm not going to. But I finished my wife's album. I actually started and finished it in a little 11 by 11 bedroom studio, which was a bedroom, in Coral Springs, Florida. And I did my wife's album, Toward the Lamb. So when I moved to Lake Worth, Florida, where I live presently, what happened was I looked for a home where I would have the ability to build a recording studio in a garage. And that's what I have today. And I have a 3-car garage recording studio. I've got a booth over there I can record drums and vocals in if I need to. I've got a main room where I can record drums. This room actually sounds pretty good. So, long and the short of it was, I had a recording studio for a long time. But in 2017, when my job situation changed, left me in a situation where I had to find myself again, I found myself. And 2017 was a year of finding myself. I started my consulting business, I started teaching drum lessons, and I was trying to figure out how do I want to reinvent Earl. And part of the reinvention of Earl was this discovery I had made a few months prior to that all starting to happen to me, where I discovered that I could talk to a camera and people would listen to it. Now, when I started my YouTube channel back in 2006, I didn't put any videos on it. By 2011-12, I started putting videos off my Droid phone or off my Apple phone. Eventually got a Zoom camera. I did some Vic Firth covers to try to get into the cover thing with the Vic Firth contests. Never made anything of any of those covers. Nothing ever came of any of that stuff. And then one day, in the beginning of 2017, I did a Doobie Brothers cover, and this channel called something of Adam. I can't even remember the guy's first name. The guy's first name was Adam, but This guy was doing a weekly drum cover show, and he chose my Doobie Brothers cover. And it was the first time I was on a drum cover show. And this was before I had 30 subscribers when I was basically put into my transition period. So I was in transition. It's April 2017. I've had this one video that somebody looked at. I did a couple talking videos, one about Danny Seraphin, one about John Hammond, the studio drummer in Nashville. I had personal contact with both these guys. Both of them had an influence on my playing. So I basically did shout-out videos to them that people watched. I got a couple hundred views on both those videos early on when nobody really knew who I was. I was nothing. But April 20th, 2017, and guys asked me, how do you start a YouTube channel? How do you get subscribers and all this stuff? How did this happen to you that this year, in 2018, I gained 1.2 thousand subscribers last year? I just did the analytics. I looked at it. 1.2, 1,200 subscribers in a year. How did that happen? Well, the real story is a couple things. And one of the interesting parts of the story of how I did that had to do with some videos I did just for the heck of it, where I talked to the camera. One of those videos was, I'm a worship drummer. I've been playing in churches for 30-something years. So what happened? I did a video on the 5 most basic worship drum beats. And many of you guys that watch me saw that video, and that's where you subscribed. I did another video called Finding the Perfect Ride Cymbal. And both these videos were done in the first month of my transition. End of April, beginning of May. I didn't know what the heck I was doing every day. I was driving Uber. My wife's like, you got to do something. You can't just sit here. Even though I was collecting a severance at that point, I had to do something. My wife was like, you got to do something. So I'm trying to find out, what's my next career going to be? I knew I didn't want to be in the cable industry. Now, I love training and I love safety, and I ended up doing that. And that's what happened this year in my personal employment. But last year I started consulting again. I started doing that type of work in that industry a little bit. And that was fun. But I had a lot of time when I was starting a consulting business. And the YouTube thing became something I started goofing with. And my wife would say, come home from work, her day gig, and say, what'd you do today? And I say, well, I did some work for my client. And what else you do? I made a drum cover. I started making drum covers. And all that started to happen after I took a long road trip and I saw the United States with my wife for 3 weeks, because I had the opportunity to do that. And I came back home, I got an account for my consulting business, and I said, you know, I'm gonna try to be a drum teacher because I really love teaching drums. So I thought, let's start teaching drums. So how am I gonna teach my drums? Let's get some YouTube videos up so people can see I can play, so I can use it as a marketing tool. So I had a couple videos, but I played even more videos. And by mid-October of 2017, I probably had 30 or so videos, maybe 40. I was goofing around. And some of my most popular videos were made in those early months when I had very low subscribers. By October 2017, I had 100 subscribers. But I had already made, I think I made all 5 of my most popular videos. 5 basic worship beats, perfect ride cymbal, the perfect hi-hats, history of concert toms was last year right around this time, and my Jeff Porcaro influence video. These videos all happened before I had 100 subscribers. So I found out I had a knack for talking to the camera. And why do I have a knack for talking to the camera? It's probably because I spent 7 years training people every week for this last company I worked at. I went back to where I started with my last company. I developed all the training and did all the high-level stuff, but in the end, the company was so small that they needed me to do all the work. So I became the guy that developed the training and also the guy that delivered the training. And I spent 7 years on the road, traveling, teaching guys how to use ladders and run wire and hook up cable modems and X1 boxes and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I talked to a lot of people. Every day I talked to people. And I did it for 4 days a week, so I had to talk a lot. 4 days a week, 6 hours a day talking, yak, 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 yak. So I started developing a knack for feeling comfortable in front of a camera and talking. And that's where my videos came from. Now, we're in the end of 2017, last year around this time of year, and it was a kind of a crazy time. See, I knew something was going to pop for me, and something was going to happen in my life good. I knew that would happen eventually. I just had to keep doing what I was doing. The craziest thing happened last year. At 100 subs, I met Drumman 190. And Drumman 190 got me doing some drum battles, as we all know. And then I ended up entering the Drum Cover of the Year contest for 2017. And through that process, I ended up winning the Drum Cover of the Year contest. Crazy. It was crazy I won the contest. But that was the jump off point, because it gave me enough guts, I guess, to keep doing more covers and more things and more covers. And I had nothing else to do at that point but work for this one client and basically make drum covers. And that's what I did right up till I got my present client and eventually employer in January of the end of January 2018. And that's where life changed a little bit, but didn't change as much as I thought it was going to change. It changed a lot. I did start traveling and all kinds of stuff, but things changed. But I had a momentum in the drumming community. One of the things that also happened right at the end of the year last year, when I hit 200 subs, was YouTube announced that they were no longer going to pay. You were no longer going to be able to monetize anything if you didn't have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of view time. Which was like, how the heck are you going to do that? How are you going to pull that together? Even at 200 subscribers, I wasn't going to do that. So anyhow, last year, January 1st, I had a huge bump because of the Drum Cover of the Year contest, and I'll leave it at that. And I had this huge bump happened, and I got up to 400 in a day. And that's the only weirdness in my statistics that I have. But other than that, 2018 was a year of me putting out videos. And I put out video content because I realized that if you got content out each week and you got it out 4 or 5 times a week, something out, guess what happened? You kept up in the YouTube content. They kept pushing you out there a little bit. So when somebody put drums in or drum covers, an Earl Bennett video showed up somewhere. And more of my videos that got views started showing up more. The truth of the matter is, last year I gained 1,200 subscribers and made, here's my final statistics for last year, for the last 365 days, since December 28th, 2017 to December 28th, 2018 today. 531.5 thousand minutes viewed. 139.6 thousand views. $113. Yes, Google paid me. Can you believe it? Big year last year. The biggest thing was 338 videos were made in the last 365 days. Which meant I developed a method of making videos, and I learned a way to do it in the last couple years, where I could make 4 or 5 videos on a weekend and keep streaming them out there during the week, which is what I learned how to do. And that right there is a video in itself, just to talk about how you do that. Okay? I think half of my video technique is, number one, I'm not real technical with the video. I shoot 2-camera mostly, even though I've done some 4-camera and I've done some multi-camera and I've done some overdub things, as is seen in the Africa video where I did all the percussion and I cut that one up and I shared it with the community to use. And I've done other 4-camera stuff, but I don't have the camera set up. But the one thing I do have is the music in me. And I love playing music, and I love doing things quickly and fast and not beating a dead horse. And that's what that shows, not beating a dead horse. And another thing it showed was the popularity of this show. This show sustained me last year, and in February last year, I got some kind of a question from somebody. I decided to answer it on a video, and I called it Ask Earl Anything, and it took off. So thank you to all my viewers of Ask Earl Anything, because you guys really kept me up and doing it weekly for a long time. I had to find a way to do that once a week video. Now, it was usually after work. Basically, it took me no more than an hour and a half to make these videos. You guys have complained about the audio. Yeah, there's reasons. You got to cut corners if you want to make things happen. But cutting corners was part of the way I did it. It was how I made Ask Earl Anything work. I had to make it work and make my life work. So that was my goal, and that's what I went after. And Ask Earl Anything was a fun show that's had a lot of success. A lot of guys watch. Nothing like my worship video, but I have a good stream of viewers each week. I get a lot of chatter on my shows. I've found I have some haters, and came through Ask Earl Anything, a lot of things there. But it was an interesting year, and I learned a lot, and I grew a lot in that whole concept and all that whole practice. But yeah, how did I get to the place I'm at today? Last year I made a lot of drum covers. A lot of drum covers, a few drum talks, a consistent weekly Ask Earl Anything, and I churned out 4 videos a week probably. Pretty wild. 338 videos in my can. Now I know not all of them are out, because I actually collect videos and meet them out periodically. It's another thing I do, because why put them out? And I learned that if you have a good take, that's not a bad take, put it out again in a couple weeks or a month later or 2 months later. Because you know what? One of the other thing I know about YouTube is you guys watch my videos, you watch pieces of them, but you don't pay attention to what I'm putting out because you haven't called me on Carly Simon Anticipation. I put it out 3 times. Actually, my favorite video was the last one I put out, except for the cameras were all screwed up. I had my head cut off in one shot, and the other shot it was there. I'm a terrible... The camera thing is the problem for me. It's not the talking, it's not the editing, it's not the playing or the music aspect of it. Some of you might not like my playing, but that's okay. I don't care. But I don't like all my editing, my camera work. I'm not real good. I got to get some better, easier autofocus cameras for me. So anyhow, year in review. Thank you for the bang there. You know, Clarence just got another set of wings, or another angel got another set of wings. I love It's a Wonderful Life, for those of you who don't know that. I love It's a Wonderful Life, and that's one of the things one of those classic movies I love to see at Christmas time. So, year in review. Kind of talked a little bit about why I did it. So why did I do so many videos? Well, I did so many videos because I realized that if I wanted to get monetized and stay monetized, which was my goal to make a few dollars off of all this hard work, I had to get 1,000 subscribers. And by June of last year, I got 1,000 subscribers, which turned the monetization on for me. But you also had to have the hours. And the interesting thing was, those talking videos, those crazy talking videos, where only I have 100 people watching or 130 people watching. If you guys watch a good piece of Ask Earl Anything, it adds up to minutes and it adds up to hours. And that got me over the hump, and it got me the 1,000 subs. It got me to the place where I was able to monetize YouTube. And it worked. So that's why I pushed so hard last year. How was the videos and those very top 5 videos that really pushed traffic to my channel? The future of this channel, though, is going to be interesting because 2019 will change. Ask Earl Anything's already changing. I'm going less regular. I'm going more topic driven. I'm not going episode driven anymore. But I realize a lot of guys like Ask Earl Anything and they like to ask questions. And I want to continue to talk to the camera. I want to continue to share my knowledge. Now, I do think a lot of what my shows are about when I talk is me sharing my head knowledge, my 40-something years of Modern Drummer magazine, the 20-something years of recording experience and reading 25, 30 years of recording magazines I've read. So I have a wealth of knowledge to kind of draw from and to share with. But the funny thing about YouTube is there's so many guys have a wealth of knowledge. So I have to find something that's unique to me. What's really been the driving factor, and this is where last year got a little tough, was the community and the friends. And I ended up doing the shows, some of my shows I ended up doing longer than I wanted to, for the friends. Because I made some really good friends this past year on YouTube. Community is a big part of it. For me in life, I'm about relationships and relating to people. That's what life's about for me. So having a community is important. And not just this pseudo community that we have called YouTube where we like each other's videos and say great job on videos. I'm talking about real life talking to people, communicating with people. And I've had a few of those experiences this year with some of you guys, and I appreciate those. I really do. Some of my favorite guys on YouTube are guys that are not popular in this drum community. And guys that enjoy Ask Earl Anything, but I've gotten to know real well. I love working and getting to know some professional drummers. And I have my whole career. My wife used to write for Modern Drummer. So I've met a lot of pro drummers, and I love the chat of talking about how guys do certain things and why they do certain things. So I have a couple friends here on YouTube that I hope to someday bring to this channel and have them sit on camera or do a Skype with them and share it with you like I did with Marco DeCiccio or Johnson Drummer this year, who came over across the coast and we did an interview. I'm hoping to do more of those drum community interviews with guys that are players in the community. One thing I'm not going to do is try to compete with the live streaming community here. Beats by Jay and Jeff Holden are trying to really do that thing. It's not my thing, and I've kind of decided I'm going to stay out of the live streaming. But I definitely want to do some more vlog type shows where I bring somebody in and talk to them about their influences, talk about what makes them tick, and talk how we jive musically and what our influences are and things like that. So there'll be more of that next year, hopefully. Also hoping to throw in some shout outs of some channels. Not a weekly shout out, but being more shout out driven and building up the community in my Ask Earl show. So community is really important. You know, there was a point where I wasn't sure I wanted to keep doing this because the community got a little weird here. But then it was those other guys like Zach Drums, 2112 Drums, Marco, the mystical dude, and his mystical comments, Mike Frisano. Those guys kept me in. I'll be honest, they kept me in when things got a little dark around here. I was getting ready to bail. I had a couple offline conversations with Mike Frisano. He talked me off the ledge a few times. He was one of the reasons why Ask Earl Anything kept going. And Mike Frisano is a guy that you really want to get to know someday. I mean, I love this guy. He's a great guy. He's not my age exactly. He's a little younger, but he's been around the guys, the people I love hearing about. And he has like a billion stories. And if I can get him to talk on camera and do something on YouTube, he's one of the guys I want to bring on the show. Because I think Mike is just classic. He's a classic drummer. He knows drums. I mean, we could talk equipment for hours. He knows more about equipment than I know. Trust me. Okay? Just like Jeff Holden knows a lot about equipment. More than I know in a lot of respects. But I love getting with those guys that are gear guys, but also guys that know guys. And Mike knows guys too. So it's kind of cool. So I want to bring more of those kind of guys on the show, and I want to do more discussions about equipment, maybe do some reviews. I'm not looking at the manufacturers, you know, but I'll tell you something. If a drumstick company saw me and saw the videos I did and said, hey, you know, try our 5A stick, because that's what I play as a 5A stick, I would try it. And if I got even a discount deal, I'd be happy. I might go to that stick company. Same with drum heads. You know, right now, Remo gets a freebie because I use Remo pretty much all the time. But if one of the other ones came to me and said, hey, talk about our stuff, I'd put you out there, you know, just to get a discount. That's, you know, I'm a pro drummer. I play in town. I played out. I've played on albums. I'm working on an album project this year, another one. But album projects don't get you exposure. You gotta be on the clubs playing. And YouTube is a place of exposure. So I would like to get something from those, you know, those practical accessory things. Not looking for a cymbal company, because I love playing this week Zildjian, last week Paiste, next week Sabian. That's fun. Not looking to invest in a new drum kit, even though it'd be great. But I am looking at doing some things with my hardware this year. I'm really seriously looking at some stuff. So again, that would be a nice outcome of YouTube. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. So anyhow, I've been rambling on quite a bit in this Ask Earl Anything. As a year in review, 2018 was an awesome year. I will say that 2018 was an awesome year, not just because of YouTube, not just because I got a job and I'm working for a great company now, and it's a company I get to use some of my creative skills. But 2018 has been a blessed year in my life. I'm a blessed person, and the thing that's a blessing to me is people. And I feel like I've connected with a lot of you out there, and some of you on a personal level, and that's made 2018 a great year for me. So for next year, I'm hoping to have more community, more shout outs, more covers. I'm going to be doing stuff I want to do, stuff I love to play is what you're going to see a lot of. And I am so thankful and grateful to all of you that have been a part of my life in 2018 and have made Ask Earl Anything a show that I like to do and I want to keep on doing. So, anyhow, thank you for watching Ask Earl Anything. Thank you for listening to my ramblings about 2018. It's been a great year. Your questions make the show, and next show I do will be questions, I promise. But thank you all for being subscribers. Oh, one last shout out. Probably should put this on the front end, but my wife's got a YouTube channel. It's more of a spiritual thing, so if you are a spiritual person, you might enjoy my wife's channel. I'm going to try to put a link to subscribe to my wife's channel on my videos for next year. That's one of my goals. I'm going to change up my back end. And I'd love to see you pass it on to people you know that might enjoy my wife's channel if you don't enjoy it. But thank you so much for making 2018 a great year. And God bless. And may you have a healthy, prosperous, and joyous New Year's Day in 2019. And I will see you. You may see more of me this week. Who knows? I got a couple more videos hanging around. But definitely see you in the new year for the next Ask Earl Anything. Thanks a lot. Bye.